agenda for October 3rd of 2022 and start with our roll call, please.
Thank you, Chair Moore. I'll go ahead and take roll call. Chair Moore.
Here.
Vice Chair Six.
Here.
Board Member Anderson.
Here.
Board Member Black.
Here.
Board Member Noon.
Here.
Board Member Olson is absent. Board Member Whalen.
Here.
Perfect, thank you.
Okay, thank you. We'll move on to public comment. Any member of the public may address the board for up to 2 minutes on any subject within our jurisdiction that is not scheduled on this agenda. Do we have anybody with us?
Thank you, Chair Moore. I do not have anyone participating via Zoom. I also don't have any speaker slips. We did receive written correspondence from Hillary Tulloch, which was distributed to the board prior to the meeting. Thank you. Back to you.
Okay, we'll close public comment and go on to approval of the minutes for September 19th. Yes.
So moved.
Okay,
Second.
second, any discussion?
Under discussion, Chair
Yeah.
Moore.
Yes.
Under page 3, under item 2, under motion number 3, I'd like to change the word recess to blend with, in order to blend with the shadows of the vines and vegetation. And number 5, that the board appreciates this saving of the podocarpus trees at the corner. That would be it.
Okay. Anything else? No? Okay, let's vote, please.
Thank you, Chair Moore. I'll go ahead and take the roll call vote. Chair Moore.
Yes.
Vice Chair Six.
Yes.
Board Member Anderson.
Yes.
Board Member Black.
Yes.
Board Member Noon.
Abstain.
Board Member Whalen.
Yes.
Motion passes. Thank you.
Okay, and the consent agenda from the 26th, please.
Thank you, Chair Moore. We had item A, 525 East Anna Alley Street. That was a proposal for a new 5,000-gallon water tank. That was approved. Project design approval and final approval as submitted. Item B, 117 Bath Street. This was a proposed project to replace existing parking lot pavement with permeable concrete pavers. That also received project design and final approval. And then 25 East Mason Street was a proposal for a new wireless communication facility, and that also received project design approval and final approval. And those were the only 3 items on consent calendar.
Okay, thank you. Do we have either of the folks that
I'll
attended?
move we accept.
Okay,
Second.
all right. Any discussion? No? Well, let's vote.
Thank you, Chair Moore. I'll take the roll call vote. Chair Moore.
Yes.
Vice Chair Six.
Here. Yes.
Board Member Anderson.
Yes.
Board Member Black.
Here.
Board Member Noon.
Yes.
Board Member Whalen.
Yes.
Motion passes. Thank you.
All right, thanks. Any announcements, requests by applicants, future agenda items, appeals, et cetera? Nothing?
No, nothing to report, Chair. Thank you.
Okay, any subcommittee reports? Nope. Okay, well, we're a little ahead of schedule, but we can get the first
We are
item down here and set up at least.
I believe we can start.
Okay.
We have a 15-minute leadway, so.
Okay, yeah, let's have item number 1. Okay, this is item number 1, 36 East Montecito Street. This is a continued item here for project design approval and final approval. This is a proposed tenant improvement for an existing commercial building. Project includes the renovations to the building, reconfiguring the parking lot, new landscaping, new outdoor patio area. The project requests consideration of an alternative landscape design to provide relief for existing site constraints. The staff hearing officer approved a coastal development permit to allow the proposed development in the non-appealable jurisdiction of the coastal zone. And again, project design and final approval is requested. Project requires compliance with the project compatibility findings, and it was last year, March 21st of this year. Welcome back. If we could have our motion from the previous hearing. So continue indefinitely. In general, the board feels the project is appropriate for the area, the park configuration is appropriate. The board can grant the parking and landscaping waiver, and the project is headed in the right direction. Study alternative designs for the proposed planting along Anacapa Street. Suggestions are to place the planting in ground and the fence or barrier should be behind it on the property, or stagger the wall and plant or divide for a less monolithic appearance. And then we made the preliminary compatibility analysis findings. Okay. If you could introduce yourselves and take us through any changes.
All right, good afternoon, and thank you for your time today. I'm Jessie Finicum Schwartz, and I will be presenting this project as our previous project manager, Jared, left the firm. I'm joined with Shanar from Anacapa's offices and also Aaron with the landscape firm.
Aaron Carroll.
We have basically continued our project. We've been studying your comments and have some specific line item responses I'd like to go through. Items 1 through 4, thank you for the positive comments on that. And I would like to skip more down to the primary discussion of the last hearing, which was tied to the Anacapa Street planting and planters. At the time you said suggestions for in-ground planting and fencing or barriers and or staggering the walls in a different manner were to be studied. In response to this, we have actually revised our plans here today. So if you look at page 16 shown here, we updated this entire area. Previously, we had proposed a CMU wall right beside the sidewalk of Anacapa Street, and then behind it, we had a raised Corten steel planter with some kind of dense screening shrubbery as a part of that. Based on your comments at the last hearing, and also based on the requirements of our ABC licensure, we went ahead and revised this detail. So we have also studied some options with staggering heights and other items, but due to the width of this planting area available and our need to get a pathway for accessibility to our seating, we decided to maintain a linear planter in this area, and we have actually lowered it to be at grade as requested. Additionally, if we could take a look at page 23. Instead of a solid CMU wall at either side or a Corten at this either side, we have an at-grade planter. The sidewalk is shown on the right here. And then to the left, we're showing just an open mesh railing to comply with our alcohol licensing requirements. This is much more transparent, and I think it really meets the intent of your comments. If we want to take a look at page 26, the second column on the left, the second image down, we've indicated with a photo the intent of the design of that, just to give you an idea of materiality and openness. And then on page 27, we have been working closely with Carol there and have updated all of these renderings to indicate the planting that's proposed in the landscape we'll be looking at today. You can see that we just have that low open fence and a much more kind of soft approach to the planting on this entire side. Other than that, the project is largely unchanged. We had positive support on our colors and aesthetics, and we have not updated those or altered those based on our last round. We've also further developed our trash enclosure and provided elevations and details for that to close out some completeness items there. We're proposing a CMU system that's going to match the aesthetic of the existing building, and will be painted to match, and then a wood gating system. And that's on page 24. So these are indicating our CMU trash enclosure with a basic plan layout, some of the construction details, and just showing a typical wood slatted system at the front. We've also updated our exterior elevations. overall to show the new planters. Number 8 is the Anacapa Street elevation that was in question at our last hearing. And as you can see, we've eliminated that white wall behind, and the Corten steel planters that you are seeing are removed considerably back from the street and are actually adjacent to the building and behind the picnic tables you see on our plans. We've also updated all of our landscape, and we're going to have Aaron go ahead and present here.
There we go. Oh, back one. Go back to the planting, yeah.
You can just
Thank you.
move the microphone closer. to you
Sure.
so it-
Yeah, so I don't think this project had a fully designed landscape plan last time you saw it. I've been in touch with Nathan Slack about the street trees along Montecito Street. For now, we're showing magnolias there, but he agrees that the existing magnolias aren't doing great along Montecito as a whole, and he's going to try to redesignate the street tree on that. So we might get something else there. We are removing one tipu tree where the trash enclosure is going to be located, but we are saving 2 Monterey cypress. It's kind of a double trunk existing tree right there, yeah. And we are adding 2 new coral trees, one on the east side of the bocce court and one on the northwest corner of the parking lot. And also 3 Metrosideros spring fires, sort of small scale parking lot trees along Montecito Street, and then the existing tipu tree on Anacapa Street would stay. In that at-grade planter along Anacapa Street, we've got Pennisetum, which is sort of a nice lacy grass in front of that wire mesh fence. David, I don't know how much you want me to go into each little plant.
I've looked at the plan.
Okay.
Yeah, it's fine, thanks.
The
Excuse
raised
me, do you mind
planters.
speaking into the mic just a little more for City
Sorry.
TV? Thank you.
The raised planters have shade-tolerant mother-in-law tongue and lady's slipper plant. And, basically the overall plant palette is chosen for durability and drought tolerance. There's plant photos on the next sheet that kind of give a more photographic representation of the plant palette. And all the irrigation will be drip.
Okay. Anything else?
That concludes our presentation, but we welcome your questions.
Okay, thank you. We'll open public comment for this item. Do we have anyone who would like to speak?
Thank you, Chair Moore. I do not have anyone joining us via Zoom. I also don't have any speaker slips, and then we did not receive any written correspondence for this item either.
Okay. We will close public comment and go to questions. Mr. Whalen, any questions? No? Any questions here?
None.
Mr. Black?
Couple questions. When I noticed a couple of the trees as they're designated, well, you already explained about Montecito Street, but you had 2 trees that were options, and it'd be nice for final to know exactly what the trees are going to be and not either or. So are you in a position to make that decision?
I believe the Metrosideros was Sweet Bay or Metrosideros.
Yeah,
Yeah. If you have a preference on that.
no, you're the designer.
I like to do that sometimes just based on nursery availability. Lately, it's just been been making a lot of substitutions on.
Yeah. But I think it's in the project's best interest, and I think technically, if you're going to get final, you're going to want to know exactly what the tree is going to be. Otherwise,
Okay.
we won't know
Let's go
until
with
it
the
goes in the ground.
Metrosideros then.
Okay. And I guess my other question is, would you be open to, I noticed that your street trees along Montecito Street are listed as 15-gallon. Would you be open to making those 24s? Just
Sure, I thought they were 24, I guess.
If I read the list right, I thought it said 15.
Okay,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay, those are my only questions.
Okay, Vice Chair Six?
I don't know if we, thank you, Chair Moore. I don't know if we've ever discussed your exterior lighting, especially if, I can imagine this will be active during the night hours. Can you explain how these active areas would be lit?
Well, the project is preliminary. It doesn't have a specific tenant yet. So as far as the light, it's more of a shell and core kind of upgrade as far as what we've been tasked with today. So we are proposing updated mounted fixtures on the exterior of the building, and we have an image here of the type of fixture that we are proposing for those. And in this case, we're pretty much putting them at all the door openings and at existing locations.
So there won't be any other exterior light to light the bocce ball court or the tables out pretty far from the building?
Not proposed at this time, as this is most likely going to be a tasting room. We expect that it's going to have to close down relatively early.
Got it. Okay, thank you.
Ms. Anderson, questions?
No questions.
Does, a couple of questions come to mind. Does this have a fire backflow or fire device associated with it? Don't know yet.
I do not know if this project has sprinklers or not, unfortunately.
Okay. And then is there a water backflow device as well? That's usually your question.
There's one for irrigation,
Okay,
it's
you
on the
saw it,
plan.
okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, any other follow-up questions?
Oh, I might have a question. So that wire and wood fence along Anacapa, 24 inches high, is that right? Did I read that right? Or no?
Should be 3.6.
What is it, 3.6? So it is? I thought I saw a label that said 24, but maybe that was one of your older plans.
Just go to the detail sheet.
That's what I kind of wondered. So to be clear, I guess my question is, just to confirm. So 42?
Yeah, yes.
Okay. As is the masonry wall along Montecito Street?
Yes.
Yes?
It is.
Okay. And to confirm too, that masonry wall would be, what is it, block? Is it plastered and painted? Something to do with matching the building somehow?
It's the,
How's that work?
it's exactly that existing wall that we had, the brick wall.
Okay.
The CMU, we're gonna do the same there. And the color will match the building, existing building.
It will be paint to finish, not a stucco veneer.
Right.
then.
Okay, that's my question. Thank you.
Okay, moving on to comments. Who would like to start? Okay, go ahead, Mr. Wedge.
Sure, Mr. Chair Moore. I find that the street side landscaping is very soft and lush and sort of belies the former service station inside. Previously, I had voted no on the design, and that was the architectural element did not seem harmonious with the surrounding Spanish colonial revival examples, but now I find this very acceptable. Thank you.
Okay, great. Anyone else with comments? Vice Chair Six?
I think it's ready for final, preliminary and final approval. I just have a question for staff, if they can review it on staff level, if indeed there is a double check valve and it's prominent visual location per the public street.
We can verify that location and make sure it fits in with our guidelines as well.
All right, thank you.
Okay. Anyone else with comments? Yeah, I would say it's certainly acceptable, and I think it's ready for preliminary and final. It would be nice to locate that fire device. I would highly recommend it. Find a home in that planter on the Montecito northwest corner, I guess, and buried in there as far as possible with the appropriate screening and color. Okay, would somebody like to make a motion?
Chair Moore, would you explain to staff and myself what is it, the north, that would be along Montecito Street?
Correct.
Ah, okay, thank you.
In that corner. Seems to be the biggest planter. Can we make that motion?
Yes, I will make a motion for preliminary design approval and final approval with the following comments: that the applicant has responded to the previous comments from the board very well, and the project is very successful, and that it meets the gosh, my mind is the compatibility findings as follows. The design of the project is consistent with the guidelines applicable to the location, especially considering that it is adjacent to and part of the Funk Zone vernacular. Number two, it's compatible with the architectural character of the city and the neighborhood for the same reason as number one. Number three, it is appropriate size, mass, bulk, and scale, as the project has not altered the existing well-proportioned and sized building on the site. There are no adjacent landmarks or historic resources to be sensitive to, and there are no public views of the ocean and mountains to be affected, and the use of open space and landscaping is very nicely done and appropriate to this project.
Okay.
And then,
I might add something as well.
Oh, excuse me, and if I may sneak up into the comments, that the staff will verify the location of the double check valve for the fire sprinkler system in perhaps, if possible, in the large northwest corner landscape area or other area away from and not visual from the primary streets.
And there was a comment about it, the specific tree.
Yeah,
Oh,
upsizing
yeah.
the street tree on Montecito Street to 24-inch box. And then selecting, well, as far as the options are concerned, you're going to go with the Metro Sideris. Yes? Yes. Okay,
I'll be very willing to add those two to my motion.
I'll second the motion.
Okay, any other discussion? Okay, is that clear to staff?
one clarification. So the Metro Sideris option would be the street trees that are going to 24-inch boxes? No?
It's another tree in the parking lot, I guess.
Can we just specify where?
Tell me.
In the parking lot along Montecito Street? Okay,
Yeah,
okay.
parking lot along Montecito.
If we think that's sufficient enough for the motion, so.
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. Yeah.
And let's read that back too.
Thank you, Chair Moore. We have the project design approval and final approval with the following comments. The applicant has responded to previous comments of the board very well, and the project is very successful. Staff will verify the location of the valve for the fire sprinkler system, and if possible, it will be in the large northwest corner landscape area or another area away from and not visual from the streets. The applicant shall upsize the street trees to 24 gallons, and the applicant will choose the Metrodosis tree, I'm sorry, Latin's not my strong suit, in the parking lot along Montecito Street.
And it's not 24 gallon, it's 24-inch box
Oh, 24-inch pot, my apologies.
size.
Okay, does that sound correct?
Yes.
Okay.
Sounds good.
Okay, then let's take our vote, please.
Thank you, Chair Moore. I'll go ahead and take the roll call vote. Chair Moore,
Yes.
Vice Chair Six,
Yes.
Board Member Anderson,
Yes.
Board Member Black,
Yes.
Board Member Noon,
Yes.
Board Member Whalen.
Yes.
Motion passes. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
And then I would also like to acknowledge the appeal period or process for this project as well. So decisions of the ABR may be appealed to the city council within 10 days, 10 calendar days. So on screen, there are some instructions. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. And it appears we need to wait a few more minutes for our next item. So we're going to adjourn until 3:30. on to item number 2, please. And that is 20 Oceano Avenue, and this is a proposal to remodel Building D, Unit 2. Proposal will remove and replace an existing concrete patio and pool. No change to the number of units, parking, or footprint of the building. Project design approval is requested and requires compliance with the project compatibility findings. Okay.
Hello.
Welcome.
Hello, my name is Paul Zink. I'm the architect for this project. I want to make a couple of corrections on the announcement that you just read. The property owner is not Lindsay McTavish. She is the property manager. It is Seacliff Apartments LLC, that kind of stuff. So not that it really matters. The second aspect of it is on the first and the second floor. We are removing and replacing existing doors and windows. On the outside, we're making them larger and taller. So it's not only just the concrete patio in the front, but there is zero change to square footage.
Okay, so to staff, since that's not on the announcement, can we review that portion of the project?
Yes, yeah, no, I think those are just minor details, a part of the remodel for the whole Building D, so that was all included in the project description.
And we're extensive remodel on the interior, but that doesn't pertain to you.
Excellent.
Okay, so I wanted to show the site plan and where this is located. It's across the street from Ledbetter Beach. I'll show you some site photographs and you'll go, oh yeah, I remember where that building is located. It's a great piece of property. The property owners have taken good care of the property. It faces the ocean. They rent out the apartments. They have great return. There's also this killer staircase that goes right up the top. Think of Laurel and Hardy moving a piano up the staircase, and you'll say, yeah, that's exactly what it is. So I should go back to this one. What we are changing is the 3-story building in the middle, and I'm only changing the lowest floor and the middle floor. The upper floor we're not changing. I am also not changing the existing 36-inch guardrail that's on the second and the third floor. We're leaving that just the way it is. Oops, go slower. Okay, let's go back to here. What I wanted to show you was on this deck, the existing concrete patio, you can tell is about 6 inches lower than the finished floor of the interior. So you go out the sliding glass door and the first thing you have to do is stumble down the step. So I'm actually pulling up the concrete patio on the outside. So we're removing 100% of that concrete and I'll be raising it up. We'll still have a perimeter wall, and then we're taking out the post in between some of the sliding glass doors and praying that we can get another 6 inches of head height as well through all that exercise. On the back side of the building, we're not changing. We're adding a little bit of wood trim just for character, but it basically is a parking lot. This project was specifically designed to be Tier 2 because the lot itself is a 45-degree angle, and to do Tier 3, I had to do the entire site, and it would just be a nightmare. Then for Tier 2, site plan-wise, zooming in to where our site is located, you can see where number 6 is a swimming pool that we're removing the existing hot tub and putting it somewhere else. But where number 4 is where the stormwater management is going to be. And whether it's a concrete bathtub filled with landscaping, I don't know yet because I haven't hired a civil engineer. But I have an allocation of where on the site the Tier 2 water will be placed. So the floor plan itself, what really on the middle floor, which is floor 2, is basically a parking structure on one side, and there is a bedroom on the ocean side with a balcony that faces, and there's a connection to the parking lot. The lower floor itself is the one that we're significantly changing, and that's where the hot tub is, and we're blowing out the floor. I can make that a little larger. Move it over. So this is where we're doing extensive amount of work, but the terrace footprint is exactly the same. I'm not making it any larger. I'm staying within the footprint of the existing terrace that's there. Then the roof, you don't care, and the 3rd floor, I'm not changing at all. Elevation-wise, this is existing elevation, but I'll pass on that if you don't mind. On the lower floor, on the lowest floor, what we're ending up doing is I'm having a pool with an infinity edge, so there's no guardrail, so that when you're in the actual living area looking through the sliding glass door system, you can see the ocean better. On the east side of the patio, there will be a wrought iron fence that I'll show you, or it's actually cable railing that happens where the dining room area and the barbecue outdoor kitchen stuff happens. On the west side, west of the swimming pool, there's a sunken area which won't have a guardrail because it'll be 42 inches from the sunken seating elevation, and then the staircase that wraps up. So that's how we're basically laying out the patio terrace area. If I go to the elevations now to show you what was being proposed. So, and then I'll show this section because the sections are important as well. But where I have the terrace wall, I have a stone face, then there's the infinity edge on the swimming pool, and then there's the cable railing where the outdoor dining and the outdoor kitchen area is located. The extension of the sliding glass door system is in the back, and then on the second and the third floor, those railings are the same, except on the second floor, I'm replacing those windows and changing them out. On the third floor, I'm not changing those windows at all. And then the side elevation showing where the stone is, and then there's an angled part of wrought iron just because of security issues. Oops, sorry about that. So, and just, this is a section going through the seating area where it's sunken down, and we're gonna have to install helicals because basically this is all fill soil at this part of the site. So we'll have a poured retaining wall, concrete wall, and then a little bit of a guardrail lining up to where the sunken swimming pool happens, where the infinity edge. And that is my no, it's not my last page. Here's another section through the area, just so you can just see how the layout is going to be. Actually, this doesn't have the infinity edge, this had the pool closure. So we went different ways on the swimming pool edge. So this is the one I'm showing actually has a tile all the way in the front. And the pool cover was where the edge was. I forgot what we ended up resolving on the pool. But the whole purpose is so that when you're in the living room, you have a clear shot of the ocean. So we did not go with the infinity edge. And the last page is just structural. We did preliminary structural just so we can understand what we're getting into before we went too far down the road. Air conditioning units on the roof, but thankfully there's a mansard already up there, so we'll be able to keep that below the height of the parapet so it won't be seen. That is my presentation for you folks.
Okay, thank you. We can open public comment for this item. Do we have anybody that would like to speak?
Thank you, Chair Moore. I currently do not have anyone attending via Zoom. I also do not have any speaker slips, and we did not receive any written correspondence for this item. Thank you.
Okay, we can close public comment and go to questions. Let's start down here this time with Ms. Anderson.
Sure, I'll kick it off. What is the existing material of the doors and windows, the frame, and what is the proposed?
It's all aluminum sliders from the 1960s, and we'll still go with an aluminum profile. It'll just be dual glazed windows.
Anodized or clear anodized?
They're
or-
clear, so they're silver in color.
Yeah, okay. And then what kind of tile are you looking at for the face of the pool that faces the beach?
In my mind, I had a picture of it, I don't have it, variety of blues. And so not like there will be falling water, but there'll be just squares of blue mosaics or a variety of blue color.
Okay, and then you mentioned something about cable rail. Can you just point that out one more time where you said that was?
Right. Oops, I'm moving up. Oops, start over. So where number 17 is on the is where the cable rail would be, and on the terrace side there's an outdoor table, and then there's the barbecue area, outdoor kitchen. And you can see where number 18 is. There's a small grid tile, but I see that as being multiple colors of blue or teal green or something like that. So it'll have the appearance of being watered since we got rid of the idea of having the cascadingness, and then Santa Barbara sandstone everywhere else.
Okay, and then are we keeping the same plaster color on the building?
Yes.
Okay. Okay, those are my questions.
Okay, Vice Chair Six.
Chair Moore, Mr. Zink, am I understand that besides, except for the pool, that the retaining wall for the patio is at will be established at the same place?
Correct.
It won't advance
It will
down
not
the slope?
encroach forward, no. And we have a survey to state where it is.
That was my next question.
We
So
do have
there-
a survey.
So these drawings are based on a accurate survey?
Yes.
Great, thank you. And then what is the planned, one of the successes of the existing condition is the healthy plants planted at the base of the retaining wall. What's the plan for, and obviously the construction will wipe those out. Do you have a plan for those?
When I return, I will return with a landscape plan, only because I'm going to have the Tier 2 stormwater management and however the planting is going to be addressed. So I don't know how it'll be replaced, but we will have to replace the landscaping on that front terrace. And however it's being done, it'll be not done by me.
So your Tier 2, if we could go to one of the site plans that shows your square number 4 down at the, or better yet, go to
Aerial photograph?
just one of your photographs. Is there?
Well, first, let's go here just so people can see what we're talking about. The number 4 is just so much square footage that I will need, I hope, or whatever. The water will cascade down that area to get
Or is that,
reabsorbed.
my question then, I don't care if you go to photographs or not, is that flat down there?
Oh, no, it's a hill. That's why it might be a concrete bathtub, if you're familiar with those resolutions. I don't know what he'll come up with, but there is a toe of the slope. The slope comes down, and then there's a little bit of a level section. Maybe this shows a bit more.
Well, we'll just be interested to see how that's
And you can
resolved.
make that a comment. Please provide detailed landscaping plans for the hillside. I agree.
And, yeah, I noticed that you asked for stainless steel gutters along the lips of the balconies. Would that be going along with your, will those be painted? Or,
I had stainless steel in there just for the corrosion aspect of it, whether it's painted or not. I'm just keeping the water from falling down on the lowest terrace.
Yes, I think that will be a challenge to.
You can see there's a gutter already up there, and it happens to be painted the same color as the plaster. So I don't have a resolution on what I plan on doing.
All right, thank you.
Okay, Mr. Black, questions?
Forgive me. So the elevation with the infinity edge pool, there is an infinity edge pool, right?
It's not an infinity edge, that's what we
I've
started
seen it
with.
go back and forth, and I'm not clear, so.
Correct. The way it's currently drawn is that it's a tile front, and so it's just going to be a solid wall, and then in that tile front was where the pool cover was that's going to close the pool. It's not an infinity edge pool. I initially designed it that way, of thinking that it would be kind of nice to see the water, and then it was like, no, get rid of it. So it will not be an infinity edge. It'll be the tile that was in that one picture, which is, 2x2s in a variety of color.
So what we're going to see, that tile wall, if you will, is here at this elevation that I'm seeing right above this bougainvillea? Is that correct?
That is correct. Right where the black wrought ironness is, imagine half of that and below would be this tile, the width of the pool. Because I don't have to go 42 inches.
Right. Pool's like 14 feet something, yeah.
Okay, so for 14 feet, I'm going to have this bluish blob, let's call it, with the tile. And I see it as being interesting, and I've got a picture that I took someplace going, wow, isn't this cool? And showed it to them, wouldn't this be nice?
Got it. And then, just to confirm, so the cable rail fence, that's all steel construction, I'm
Yes.
assuming, the posts and rails and what have you?
Yes.
Not unlike what you've got here.
It won't be black, it'll be going with the silver look, the aluminum-ish, or, stainless steel, for the cable railing solution that was on the lowest floor.
So that'll be a little bit of a departure from what you have here existing then, yeah, on the upper floors here.
The upper
That's
floors.
all black?
Correct.
Okay.
Because the entire building itself, all the buildings have black wrought iron, and as soon as I start unraveling that edge, I got to decide where I'm going to stop. And so I decided not to touch it at all.
Okay, those are my questions, thank you.
Okay, any other questions down here?
Well, just all of my other questions have been answered. Touching on that, on the railing, just the reasoning behind a different color and a different style was,
The different style is when you sit down, you can look through the cable railing versus having the pickets. And so that was a desire to have the other look. And if I'm going to be different, let's be different. And so not try to paint a black and have more conflicting. Plus, black gets hot to the touch. And I wanted to add a wooden railing on top of the black railing everywhere else. And they said as soon as I alter it and touch it, then I trigger the 200-pound kind of stuff. And so I'm not going to touch it at all. So the lowest floor railing will be different than everything else on campus.
okay, thank you.
Mr. Whalen?
Yes, thank you. Mr. Zink, let's start with this photograph here. It appears that there are two black columns, like 6 by 6, that are framing some sort of folding screen. Those columns seem to appear on some plans and not on others. What's going on there?
They appear on the existing plans and they're being demoed and removed.
And what is that?
As odd as it is, there is a staircase on the other side of that wall that goes up, and so the original cantilevered deck had no place to support itself. So where the staircase happens between the first floor and the second floor, because that was added later, these two floors were not connected at one time. And so when they put that staircase in, they lost the cantilever effect. So they added the two columns that you saw and that beam across to support it. I'm getting rid of all of that and restoring the cantilever. So if I go to my elevation, you won't see that, or my floor plan.
Very good. I appreciate the clarification of the infinity pool question.
Yeah, I forgot.
And let's see, so the level of, the difference between the top of the wall and the terrace varies from 1'2", 1'4", 1'6", right? Because you're doing different things along the terrace. It's not consistent.
Let me go to the elevation. And
The elevation, yes.
If I have 3 different heights, it looks like the top of the stone is the same on both sides of the swimming pool. And then one side I'm going to have the cable rail. On the other side where the sunken seating is, there's no cable rail.
Yeah. Okay, those are my questions. Thank you.
Another question?
Yes.
So, so I see the cable rail fencing on to the right of the pool, but is it because you have a sunken seating area that you don't need it on the left side?
That is correct, because it's 42 inches from the floor of the sunken area to the top of that wall.
Got it. Okay, thank you.
Okay. If we could leave it here for a moment. So right now, there's bougainvillea in front of this wall. Does that wall, how far down does that wall extend before it hits grade?
I'm guessing, I show about 42 inches or 3 feet. I'm not positive, because once we start doing the construction, there's going to be some erosion, and so the wall is going to grow taller in height than it is right now. Because right now, you can see the full 36 inches of wrought iron and a little bit. I plan on replanting that hillside with something and growing up, but until it gets replanted, there'll be the sandstone veneer.
Okay. In your design explorations, did you also study a way to not have the cable guardrail on the right-hand side here?
It was requested from the client that when I sit down, I want to look in between the lines. I don't like to look in between. And it's a client derivative, and so once that happened, I decided to make it different.
Well, I mean, did you study a alternative outdoor patio plan that would also had a small sunken area on the right-hand side to try and eliminate that guardrail condition?
I did not study that, no.
Okay. I mean, in the sunken seating area, do you have the height right so you can look over that wall, you think?
Well, I have to be 42 inches, so you have to be kind of tall and sitting upright, or we put the sofas up on a little platform of some sort. I haven't figured all that out yet.
Okay, any other questions?
So I have a follow-up question. Are you proposing any new lighting, or are we matching existing, or what are we
There'll be new
doing?
lighting, and what would be important is that it's all kind of done at the ground level and that they're not in the soffit of the overhang.
Yeah.
Because we don't want to see it. Currently, I don't think there is any, because if I'm familiar at nighttime looking up, I don't see downlights in the
Right.
cantilevered
Yeah, I
overhang.
saw some sconces. I was just curious if those
So
are-
they should all be wall sconces or low-level lighting, and you can make that a comment/reminder for me in the notes.
Okay, thanks.
One other follow-up, number 20 here, is that an existing little piece there?
Yes, it is super weird, and I can show you the photographs. Yes, it is super weird. And all I'm doing is I'm plastering it, and on the floor plan, I have a planter on that area. Between there, there's wrought iron that I was hoping that I can grow a vine on. Let me see if I have that on the side elevation. You see the number 7, and you see the number 20 as it goes across. It's that monolithic kind of thing. And then there's a short door. The number 6 is like a 6'6" door, and has a porthole hole that you kind of duck in, because the first and second floor were created as one unit a while ago with a building permit, and that's what I have to work with.
Okay.
Aren't you glad you asked?
Anyone else? Follow-up question?
Could you, Mr. Zink, I notice on this elevation you have the triangular black railing, number 2.
Yes, 21.
What about the other side?
The other side, it's not necessary because there's
Do you have an elevation in that other side? I thought there is on your lower left-hand elevation. There seems to be some railing down there at the lowest point. Yeah.
So over, all there is going to be really a cedar fence that hides the pool equipment that's currently existing. Because where the property line is, yes, there'll be a little fence there, but it's so overgrown with bougainvillea that we're going to keep, that
Okay.
it's just going to get lost in that thickness.
All right, thank you.
Okay, can we move on to comments? Yeah, who would like to start? Anybody? Okay, go ahead.
Sure. I don't think it's ready for project design and approval today. I would keep in mind the reflectivity of materials, so that people at the beach, it's not reflecting down at them. So the tile selection and the cable rail and stuff like that. And otherwise, as far as mass, bulk, and scale, I think it's suitable for the area. I'm a little hesitant on the cable rail, so maybe study keeping an all horizontal black rod possibly, or something that would tie in with the existing. Yeah, those are my comments.
Okay. Vice Chair Six, do you have anything to add?
Chair Moore, the only thing that's sensitive is, the resulting height and impact of that retaining wall, as this is such a steep site. And I look forward to very accurate drawings of the resulting height once you've established your foundations and done your construction. I would think that you have a section to show accurately what's going to happen and how high that wall is going to be. I also think that as far as the client's concerned, he's not going to be looking at the back side of this wall. It would seem to me that it would be simply less, to bring less attention to that sensitive height of that wall. Just don't do the tile, just do either more sandstone or simply paint it out with the color of, plaster it with the color of sandstone. And I'll be interested to see your resolve on the Tier 4 solution. tier two.
Bumping them up.
Tier two, and I think that once construction has resulted, that you'll need a very healthy landscape plan, new for landscape plan for that, all that downward hill. Other than that, I think it's acceptable and an improvement.
Okay, Mr. Black, any comments?
I guess I'm trying to decide whether or not having stainless steel construction for the cable portion of that fence is, how that's going to look relative to the rest of the project. I don't know, it'll be a departure. It'll definitely stand out. Maybe this would be inappropriate. What if you had like glass panels?
Oh, I'd say yes. I thought glass panels weren't allowed.
No, then maybe they're not. Are they not? Okay. Okay. Well, I know in a traditional sense, they're not acceptable, but for this building, I kind of wondered, but, okay, scratch that.
The black, going with rods versus cable, I can see if that would make a difference. But the colors where you guys are thinking about.
Yeah, I don't have any other comments, thanks. Oh, I guess, it's sort of a question, comment. So are you anticipating re-landscaping the entire slope, or just the area that's impacted up at the top of the slope?
I would say 3/4 of it would be re-landscaped, because the lower part where tier is, and then where the construction's gonna happen, then you got this little mini thing, so the whole entire hillside will be re-landscaped in my mind.
Okay, I'll look forward to seeing that, thank you.
Okay, Mr. Noonan?
I'm just going to reiterate the comment on the rail, since it's been brought up. I don't know that I'm sold on it yet. And in the reasoning that you gave for being the horizontal, being able to see through it, I just don't know that that's, as board member Moore kind of alluded to. I'll let him maybe go further with it if he wants, but I don't know that the reasoning is, because you are lower in the sunken area as well. I'll just leave it as, I'm not, I concur with the other board members. I'm not sold on the in both color and style of the rail.
Mr. Whalen?
Thank you, Chair Moore. Let's see, just to pick up on the rail, Mr. Zink, could you go to one of the photographs taken from the street below? It occurs to me that the existing first level railing, if you could zoom right in on it, is the most offensive one, and that will be replaced by, in my estimation, something that has much less visual impact. Overall, this building doesn't draw attention to itself, so I think keeping a light image, as you've suggested with this railing, would be in character with that. I agree with Mr. Six's position about the tile, with this idea that the building doesn't draw attention to itself. I don't get what the tile thing is all about. It seems to that it may draw unnecessary attention to the building, and it doesn't really do anything other than allude to the infinity pool that it isn't. Again, I would also like to see a landscape plan, and completely unrelated, how do they intend to get out remove all of that concrete? Is it going to go up the hill or down the hill? That's unrelated to a comment, but I'll just that may affect the landscape plan. All right, thank you.
Yeah,
Those
sure.
are my comments.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, I agree, Mr. Whalen. I think the kind of mishmash of materials on that lower wall / rail / pool could be simplified. I think just a really nice, clean sandstone wall running the length of it would be just fine. Maybe you could kind of meet us halfway with there's a option where there's, the wall comes up to, a certain height just below eye level and then transitions to some sort of horizontal black railing on top of that. And that's consistent throughout. That might kind of help bring this all together. Because at least you would be, alluding to the existing black railing on the site, but in a different format. Maybe we could get behind that a little bit more. But I think it needs additional study.
Okay.
Everything else seems appropriate. The doors, the material of the doors and the windows seems all fine. So.
May I
Mr.
add
Six.
to your comment? I think maybe one of the things, Mr. Zink, you could do is, as Chair Morris suggested, maybe, a halfway down rail, maybe you do that on your sunken area too. So instead of just this one piece and half of your composition, you have one, a little higher, black, whatever, unique, and then a little lower one, unique on the other side. So it might tie the whole thing together and present itself better as part of the overall system rather than just a unique piece of something stuck on the right-hand side.
Okay.
Yeah, or maybe you abandon the sunken seating idea. That way you could balance the railing on and make it look similar on each side of the pool. Just a thought. Okay, any other comments? No? So it sounds like everybody's looking for additional information before we can move to a project design approval.
Indefinite continuance is fine.
Okay, so I'll make a motion for an indefinite continuance back to the full board with the following comments. That the proposed remodel, doors, windows, the materials are acceptable as presented. Please return with a landscape plan. Restudy the proposed guardrail configuration. The board suggests simplifying your approach and using materials similar to what are already on site. I think we can leave it fairly open.
Okay.
Unless anyone would like to add anything more specific.
Yeah, I'll second that and would like to add further that the board looks forward to an accurate section considering the construction and accurate profile of the hill to be comfortable with the final height of the retaining wall.
Okay. That's fine with me. Any other discussion? Okay, can we read that back, please?
Of course. So this is going to be continue indefinitely with the following comments. The proposed remodel doors, windows, and materials are acceptable as presented. The applicant shall return with a landscape plan. The applicant shall restudy the proposed guardrail configuration. The board suggests simplifying your approach and using materials similar to what is already on site. And the board looks forward to accurate section considering the construction and accurate profile of the hill to be comfortable with the final height of the retaining wall.
Okay, can we read the first two sentences back again?
Yes, the proposed remodel, doors, windows, materials are acceptable as presented, and the applicant shall return with a landscape plan.
So let's be specific. Let's say the proposed remodeled doors and windows, door and window material are acceptable as presented.
Perfect, thank you.
Okay. Anything else? Okay, let's vote, please.
Thank you, Chairman. I'll go ahead and take the roll call vote.
You seconded. You were the second.
All right, the roll call vote. Chair Moore,
Yes.
Vice Chair Six,
Yes.
Board Member Anderson,
Yes.
Board Member Black,
Yes.
Board Member Noon,
Yes.
Board Member Whalen.
Yes.
Motion passes. Thank you.
Thank
very
you.
much.
Yeah, that's beautiful. Okay, and with that, we can close our meeting for the day. Thank you very much.